The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Pollock, and I am the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Advanced Analytics to Drive Insights in Acumatica and Sage X3, presented by SWK Technologies and UBIX. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise to a minimum. However, throughout the webinar, you can submit any questions you have. If you'd like to submit a question, please look for the questions section in your GoToWebinar, and we will answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. We are also recording this presentation, and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees, as well as those who registered but were not able to attend today. And finally, please take a moment at the end of the presentation to answer our survey question. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you with tools, support, software, and industry knowledge whenever you need it. We've invited UBIX here today because they are experts in advanced analytics and ready to help you create new insights that drive intelligent action. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions you have. And lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And with that said, I'll hand it over to you, Tony.
All right, thank you, Courtney. Let me just get my tools going here. Hey, and welcome everyone. My name is Tony Levy. I am the VP of Product Management at UBIX. On behalf of UBIX, let me just say that we are thrilled and excited to be here today in partnership with SWK Tech to describe how you can combine new analytic capabilities with your existing Acumatica and/or Sage X3 infrastructure to unlock business value in these uncertain times. So think of UBIX as an advanced analytics and data science platform. It's designed to help business users and domain experts such as business analysts, financial analysts, demand planners, inventory analysts, solve analytic challenges that were never possible before, and to do this fast, reliably, and affordably. This is really the next big wave in unlocking business value for mid-market companies, really in all industries and in all geographies. So the question is, why is this important? Why now, and why UBIX? And the short answer is unprecedented volatility, uncertainty, and risk. In a world like today, where demand for products is uncertain, supply is at risk, and input commodity prices are highly volatile, every company needs new tools and disciplines to anticipate and shape business outcomes more effectively. Now, traditional ERP and reporting tools alone cannot address these analytic opportunities as we see today. And we see this from the front office to the back office, from customer, perhaps sales and marketing analytics, demand forecasting to production and procurement. Think of UBIX as extending your existing Acumatica and Sage X3 infrastructure to empower business users to address these high-value analytic challenges with state-of-the-art data science and advanced analytics. And we offer compelling pre-built analytic solutions from our solutions library across a range of use cases to help you get started quickly, reliably, and affordably. Now, modern business systems, like those ERP systems that you have in place, are already providing flexible, on-demand digitization of core business operations, driving what we call digital transformation. Now, our view is that digital transformation is simply a journey towards the intelligent business. Really, with the advent of data science and advanced analytics, organizations can now analyze unprecedented volumes of data from disparate sources, both internal and external, faster, continuously, and cost effectively to drive new insights throughout the enterprise. We call this the era of the intelligent business, where intelligent processes and applications tap into both internal and external data sources to generate new insights and foresight that drive intelligent action for greater business impact. Now, UBIX helps you create the intelligent business by transforming the way you measure, the way you monitor, the way you analyze operational and financial data to drive timely, more effective decision-making. On this slide, UBIX helps you shift from the left side of the slide to the right side of the slide, from an over-reliance on human intuition in making decisions to deriving new insights automatically from data, and to use those insights in augmenting human judgment. For example, if today you create demand forecasts using human judgment alone, then with UBIX, you enable advanced algorithms to create more reliable demand forecasts based on both historical data and causal drivers, oftentimes external, such as weather or consumer price indices. Not only are the machine-generated forecasts more accurate, but when they're done well, they can remove bias that is often found in human judgment. And we'll talk more about that. You then reconcile human judgment with these machine-generated forecasts. You make final adjustments, and then submit the final forecast to the plan of record. UBIX helps you shift from an over-reliance on manual spreadsheets, disconnected spreadsheets, and traditional reporting tools to the right side of this slide to leverage modern cloud analytics and automation that includes proven algorithms that operate on more granular data. So picking up on the theme of demand forecasting down to the SKU level, for example, as well as external data to create new insights, new inferences, and predictions that were simply not possible before. With UBIX, you shift from an over-reliance solely on historical internal data in making decisions to augment that internal historical data with causal drivers that are oftentimes external, such as in retail, foot traffic, or in CPG and retail social media, to create new insights that drive business impact. So UBIX is a platform. It's an advanced analytics platform that manages the end-to-end data science lifecycle and bridges the gap between business users and what are called data science experts. Now, while other data science platforms focus on software developers and these data science experts, UBIX is different. We focus on domain experts such as business analysts, financial analysts, demand planners, inventory analysts, and more. We believe that until that domain expert is brought into the analytics process early, data science will simply not be abundant, reliable, and cost-effective. So with UBIX, you can leverage your existing infrastructure, your Acumatica and Sage X3, and other existing infrastructure, combining both internal ERP data and external data, such as commodity price indices and more, to generate new insights that were really never possible before. So specifically, our platform is ingesting, it assembles these data, it profiles and cleans it and transforms it and prepares it for data science. We then enable the business users to build analytic solutions that they can put quickly into production. These solutions then create new inferences, new predictions, and these are passed to the appropriate end user applications. So these might be existing ERP interfaces on your Acumatica or Sage X3 system, or it could be some BI reporting tool that you have standardized on. Either way, we pass these new insights to those existing interfaces. Now, if you don't have an existing interface for a particular end user use case, then of course, we can build that out for you. And this way, data science enabled processes and applications can be built quickly and cost effectively to deliver timely, reliable foresight to drive intelligent action. In effect, we're helping you become smarter without having to hire expensive, hard-to-find talent. Now, because UBIX is a general-purpose data science platform, we address any number of data types and use cases from the front office to the back office. And here on this chart, we list just a few. For instance, customer analytics is about analyzing data from perhaps your e-commerce website. Data such as transactions, navigation across the website, interactions with various website widgets. And then we use UBIX to create analytic models from these data that predict the next best action for the user. Perhaps it's to present them with a complementary product that they can purchase as a companion to the products that they were originally intending. Perhaps it could also be a price promotion as a next best action. The most common goal is to increase share of wallet and reduce customer churn. Now, accounts receivable collections analytics enables a company to model customer attributes such as payment history or other firmographics to infer the likelihood that a customer who has missed a past due invoice will in fact pay in the next period. And then by segmenting these customers into, say, segments A, B, C, the accounts receivable team can optimize resources that improve collections and reduce collection costs. So for instance, segment C is a group of customers that is very unlikely to pay. The AR team would then sell these to an outside collection agency. Segment B are a set of customers that may pay. There is a certain probability that they will pay. It's high enough that we would then send phone calls. Segment A is very likely to pay. These are a set of customers that have been predicted by our models to be very likely to pay. And so these we would simply send a reminder email. Demand forecasting is the most basic of use cases for the majority of hard goods companies. Whether a company is a manufacturer, a distributor, or a retailer, every one of these hard good companies has to create a demand plan. By analyzing order history as well as external factors, one can create a more reliable demand forecast by time period, down at a SKU level, and by channel. So imagine what a 30% improvement in forecast accuracy could do for a company in terms of reducing working capital requirements and safety stock levels. Commodity procurement analytics is about using internal procurement data combined with external commodity index data to create a more reliable commodity price forecast. And when combined with demand, then the ability to make better procurement recommendations. A 3 to 5% procurement savings drops right down to the bottom line. Connected field services is about monitoring sensor data from products used by your customers, such as appliances or equipment, perhaps it's heating and ventilation equipment or other equipment, to detect anomalies and predict failures. Effectively, from the data, creating models that will detect anomalies and predict failures. This then leads to improved spare parts planning and field service scheduling in order to reduce the cost of field service and increase top-line growth for field service revenues. Now, these are just a few examples of how data science and advanced analytics can help Acumatica and Sage X3 customers unlock business value. Now, let me share with you a real-world customer example. This is a $200 million a year meat processor based in the Midwest. they convert beef, pork, and turkey proteins into various products for sale into two market segments. The first market segment is the restaurant market. And as we know, here in North America, this has experienced a significant decline during the pandemic. The second market segment is the specialty food retail and distribution market, which is seeing significant growth during the pandemic. A new CFO joined the company 3 years ago to drive a digital transformation. He replaced their legacy ERP and then started to build out an analytic foundation using Snowflake as a data lake and Power BI as an analytic workbench. This is when we met the CFO. We asked him, look, what's your biggest pain point? He said, look, their number one business challenge is how to cope with input commodity price volatility. His company is caught in the middle. On the one hand, they buy proteins on the open market, and on the other hand, large retailers are putting pressure on price. And he wants to use, analytics to help his procurement team make better decisions. And he realized that his current analytic foundation was missing a critical component, namely a data science platform to combine both internal procurement data with third-party commodity price index data to create analytic models that forecast commodity prices going forward. The output of UBIX feeds both the ERP reporting module as well as Power BI as part of their analytic workbench. There are really two use cases with this customer. The first use case creates a more reliable commodity price forecast engine using third-party data. And here we're using, for example, the USDA beef data and historical internal procurement data. The second use case, we tackle demand forecast to create a more reliable demand forecast. And then once we have quantity from the demand forecast and price from the price forecast, we can then make a more reliable procurement or quantity times price recommendation. And as you can see on the screen here, the business value is significant. A 3-cent savings per pound in procurement price is worth $1 million in annual procurement savings. This drops right down to the bottom line. This underscores that the ROI in advanced analytics is substantial. Now, this case study highlights that the reason data science and advanced analytics is so important, particularly in these uncertain times where volatility, uncertainty, and risk are increasing. Advanced analytics can unlock significant business value across a range of business challenges. At the heart of our strategy to deliver value quickly and affordably to mid-market companies is our solution library. Through our own efforts, as well as those of our partners, we have access to hundreds of analytic solutions across a range of industries from retail and industrials to energy, financial services, and professional services. Many of these were built and have been in production for over 20 years. If one of your use cases can already be addressed by one of our models, then the implementation effort is very low and the time to value is very fast. Now, this library of solutions allows you to accelerate your analytics journey and receive value at every step. For instance, you can start by addressing demand planning, create a more reliable demand plan. And then global capacity planning, determine how to fulfill that demand. And then create reliable, feasible production plans in the factory. And then address safety stock levels in the warehouse. Perhaps optimize logistics and the total supply network. Tackle procurement, as we discussed in the case study earlier. And then even on the shop floor, predictive maintenance of equipment in order to improve throughput. The point is that the opportunity to unlock business value is endless. Now, demand planning is a great place to start in all companies in hard goods industries, whether you are a manufacturer, a distributor, or a retailer. All of you in these industries have to create demand plans. And you probably know that human judgment alone is a tricky thing. It really cannot cope with volatility, uncertainty, and risk. Human judgment not only struggles with variability, but is also subject to bias. And there are many forms of bias. For example, anchoring bias is the tendency to make judgments by referring to a benchmark, which may or not be relevant, frankly. We see this in a forecast that is constructed by referring to a target or a previous forecast. And this results in underestimating the amount of variation that exists, or what one might call the level of randomness, or what some people call noise. Confirmation bias is a tendency to look for evidence which confirms certain beliefs and ignores evidence which doesn't support those beliefs. We might see this when we recall those instances when we have correctly spotted bias in the forecast created by other people, but not when we ourselves fail to spot the bias in our own forecasts. This often justifies adjusting other people's forecasts. These are just some examples, but there are over 15 different biases that can impact forecasts. So when a machine-generated forecast is created, we are much more likely to be able to eliminate those human biases. Now, some of you are using traditional statistical forecasting methods with your forecasts. These are largely based on history. They may be adequate at handling fast-moving items, but don't work in complex volatile demand patterns. Demand may be impacted by external drivers, such as local weather forecast data, foot traffic data, local demographics, maybe that's age or income or ethnicity. Maybe it's consumer tastes and social media. Our solution uses data science to combine external and internal data. It avoids overfitting the data by minimizing or pruning out factors that have little to no demand impact. The solution can apply data science not only on a product store or channel level, but also at different levels of aggregation and with flexible groupings. The value opportunity is significant. Imagine the reductions in working capital requirements if a company can improve forecast accuracy by 10 to 40% and increase inventory turns by 10 to 20%. For manufacturers, production planning is another high-value use case. Many manufacturers do not take into account machine capacity in creating production schedules. This leads to infeasible production plans. Monitoring and control of production process is difficult, and rescheduling due to demand fluctuations is complex. Overall plant throughput tends to be low. Our solution creates dynamic, capacity-constrained production plans. Schedules are feasible and more reliable. Rescheduling addresses fluctuating demand more effectively. The net result is faster cycle times and increased throughput. We talked earlier about procurement analytics. If your buyers are unable to use commodity price patterns in making effective procurement decisions, if decisions are made largely on intuition, then UBIX can help. Our solution analyzes commodity data, procurement data, buying patterns, financial data. We enable predictive models to forecast the impact of various parameters such as commodity prices, weather forecasts, price of substitutes, raw materials, to create advantages in sourcing and procurement. The net result is up to a 30% improvement in margins. The value opportunities are really endless. And we make this possible in a fast, reliable, and affordable way, as illustrated on this slide. This is our standard pricing for a demand planning bundle. The base UBIX platform is priced at $20,000 in annual subscription fee. Again, just to remind you, we are a cloud-based solution, and we offer, annual subscription fees for the platform. And the analytic models are priced a la carte and range in price from $500 to $10,000 in annual subscription fees, depending on the particular use case. In the example here, the demand planning models sell for $10,000 a year in annual subscription fees. Services are approximately $20,000, depending on the quality of your data, the use case that we're tackling, and the final user interface. Now, if the use case can be addressed, 100% by one of the solutions in our solution library, then the time to build and tune these analytic models is greatly reduced. Now, typically, customers will ask us to conduct some kind of a proof of concept using real data, not necessarily integrated into their systems, really offline, and with limited model tuning, but simply to demonstrate that the analytics can add value, to help justify the ROI. So the services fees for that POC are included in the $20,000 services fee line item here. In summary, we believe that the strategic application of advanced analytics can help you as an Acumatica or Sage 3 customer gain greater speed, agility, and foresight in these turbulent times. Our call to action is to reach out to your SWK Tech customer account manager or Miles Mahoney, our UBIX Chief Revenue Officer, to schedule a discovery call. Miles will help you understand the value opportunity of applying advanced analytics from the front office to the back office, from customer analytics to financial analytics to demand forecasting, inventory allocation, replenishment, procurement, and much more. We then prioritize the high-value use cases, scope the work, and kick off a project. And as an added incentive in our partnership with SWK Tech, we are offering you a 30% discount off of the UBIX first-year subscription fee. In other words, that $20,000 a year that we talked about earlier, if you sign a POC by December 10th of this year. So in closing, the opportunities are endless and the ROI is significant. So we simply ask you to act now. And with that, I'll hand the microphone over back to Courtney, and we will conduct a poll as well as answer questions. Courtney?
Thank you, Tony. That was a great presentation. And we're now going to open it up for questions. So if you have any questions, please enter them directly into the questions section of GoToWebinar. We're going to take a second to let those come through. So Tony, we've had a question. How do the solutions in the library work?
Yeah. So, you're familiar with, the innovation of the smartphone, the app store. We believe that in order to make this advanced analytics affordable, reliable, and scalable, that there needs to be not only a platform like UBIX that is usable by domain people rather than simply data science experts, but also there needs to be a way to get started quickly and affordably. In a sense, there needs to be a modern day app hub where the apps are really these solutions, and think of these solutions as analytic workflows that are used by our platform in the hands of the business user to basically derive the final analytic models that are put into production, and that's all done automatically, to then derive the new inferences, the new predictions, the new insights that were derived from the data that were not possible before, and to pass those into existing interfaces. So those solutions are in effect the modern day app store. But in this case, we're talking about data science analytic workflows that give you a head start that's affordable, reliable, and scalable. And what we find is that, we can probably cover about, 70% of your needs, 80% of your needs with our existing solutions. And so then what remains is just some final tuning. So anyway, that's the idea of the solutions library. It's a way to get you started quickly, affordably, and reliably. Courtney, back to you.
That's great. And it looks like we've had another question come in around the solutions library. Someone wants to know how the apps in the solution library are priced.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, we monetize these because they add value. And they are priced separately. Those that are simply about automating some calculations, they're priced very aggressively, maybe only a couple $100 a year. But those that are more complex and create a lot more business value, like demand planning, for example, are priced, because they're unlocking a lot of value, right? If you can improve your forecast accuracy by, 30% and reduce your safety stock levels, that can have a huge impact on your business. And so those are priced really to reflect the value that they unlock, right? And so as we talked about, demand planning is one example of that, and that's priced at about $10,000. So they're all priced a la carte, depends on the use case. The more that it's just about automation, the lower the cost. The more that it's about unlocking significant business value, then they tend to be priced higher. And some of these are built and marketed by UBIX, and some of these are built and marketed by UBIX's partners. So hopefully that answers the question. Back to you, Courtney.
That was great. And I think our final question for someone looking to get started with UBIX, where do most companies start with these types of analytics?
Yeah, I mean, that's the key question. And that's why our call to action is to get on the phone and we hold a discovery call. What we typically find is, if we've already worked with someone in your industry, or if you're a manufacturer, particularly a distributor or retailer, we already have a hypothesis of where the pain is. But because every company's unique, we really need to understand from you and from the data where the pain is, right? And so that's the purpose of the discovery call. It's maybe initially an hour call with you, and if it's with your team, maybe it's a 2-hour call, just to understand the key pain points from the front office to the back office, and what is if we could make improvement, what's the ROI? And so typically we'll rank the use cases by ROI, and the ones that are most urgent and that have the biggest ROI tend to be at the top, and those are the ones that are typically a place to start. Now, obviously the quality of the data matters. If data is high quality around a use case, we'll tend to gravitate towards that. If there's a lot of work that has to be done with the data, then that has to be factored in. So the quality of the data really matters. But ultimately it comes down to, business impact and ROI. And we typically want to address, the use cases that have the biggest impact. But that's the purpose of the discovery call. And once we've prioritized those use cases, then the next step is really to do a POC, to use real data and run it through our models with just very little effort on our part, to do a first cut impact analysis of our analytics on your data, and to demonstrate that there's really value there's a value opportunity, right? And then from there we would go into production, move those models into production integrations, and then basically at that point we're live. So that's the typical life cycle that we see, but it all starts with that discovery call. And so that's why we encourage you to reach out to your SWK Tech customer account manager or Miles, and let's get on the phone and let's talk about your particular needs. Back to you, Courtney.
Great. Well, I think that is all of our questions for this session. And again, I'd like to thank you so much, Tony, for such an informative presentation and for taking the time to be here today. And also, I'd like to thank everyone for attending our webinar, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Great. I look forward to the polling results too.
Thank you.